Most physios and sports therapists who leave professional sport to set up their own clinic will make the same mistakes. And by that point, they've usually spent years dreaming about getting out because they're simply fed up with it. And the second that they do, they go too big too fast. They take on external investment, they sign leases on places that they cannot fill, and they stack up their overheads before they've even got a single patient through the door. And within 6 months, they're stressed, they're broke, and they're wondering why they ever left. Now, this example I'm going to give you today is a completely different story. So I got a message about 18 months ago from a physio who was working at a championship football club. He'd been in the Premier League and he'd sort of yo-yoed between Premier League and Championship. He was a head physio and on paper, dream job, good money, professional sport, the kind of role that most physios and sports therapists would spend their whole career chasing, if I'm being honest. But he was in his early 40s, he'd been in football over 20 years, his kids were growing up, he was working every single weekend, and a new manager had just come in, which, if you know professional football, you know what that means. It's uncertainty again, everything you've built potentially gone overnight, and he was just done with it. He messaged me and just said, look, I'm sick of this now, I want out, but if I'm going to come out, I want to do it properly. I want my own clinic. And his words to me were, I want to set it up exactly like you have. So that's what we did. And here's where he is today. So the first week of going full time for himself, he had 17 new patients in and his diary was 80% full. Right now, he's fully booked. He's got a 2-week waiting list. He's just signed a new lease on a building with 5 treatment rooms and a dedicated rehab space. He's about to put a Shockwave machine in, and he's also about to hire his first member of staff. At the moment, it is just him. He's got no business partner, no external investment, no investors. He's got no debt, and he's built it from one room. He's got the foundation right, and he's scaled it from there, or he's about to scale it from there. Now, in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what we did and in what order, because the order matters more than most people realize. The website, the social media, the ads, the systems, and why doing them wrong or doing them in the wrong sequence is the reason that most clinic owners will just stay stuck. So if you're working in professional sport right now, it could be football, it could be rugby, it could be cricket, whatever the sport is, if you're starting to feel like the lifestyle doesn't quite match the life that you actually want, then this video is for you. And it might be it's the weekends, it might be it's the travel with the team, it might be just the fact that there's been a regime change and suddenly everything just feels a little bit uncertain again. Or maybe you've just hit your early 40s and you've just realized that the dream job that you've been chasing for the last 10, 15 years isn't actually your dream anymore. And whatever it is, if you want out, you want to set up your own clinic and you want to do it properly, then stick around, because this is exactly how it's done. So just for context, this physio got in touch with me end of October. So in terms of the football season, is not even halfway. What had happened was they got off to a bad start. The manager had changed, and with the new manager had come a new regime and a new timetable, if you like. Staff going out, new ones coming in. So there's a little bit of uncertainty whether his job was going to be safe, which is terrible if you've got a young family. And also, they were off Sundays originally. Now they were in Sundays. So, things at home were now becoming affected and changing again, all because of the new manager that had come into the football club. And he rang me, we had a good chat. He just said, you know what, Joe? He said, I'm just fed up with it. I've been at it over 20 years, nearly 25 years. My eldest son's nearly 16, getting ready to leave school. And he said, I just don't want this to be my life for the next 20 years. I feel like I'm young enough to have a go at something else. He said, I've thought about what I want to do. I don't want to go to another sport. I don't want to go to another club. I don't want to work in the NHS. He said, if I'm coming out, the only thing that I want to do is set up my own clinic. And his words to me were, if I'm going to do it, I want to do it the same way as you have. So would you coach me? So of course I will. It's what I do via my Clinic Builder program. Yeah, we had a good chat about where he wants to be and what he's going to have to do to get there and the importance of getting things in the right order. And I gave him some really honest advice and I explained to him that physios that have worked in professional sport, they come out and set up their own clinic and they do it the wrong way. And there was an example of that recently where a physio had left a top Premier League club, took loads of external investment. They'd set up from day one with 5 or 6 treatment rooms, amazing rehab space, Shockwave machines, the best Ultra-G treadmill that money can buy. 4 years later, the business went bust and they went out of business. And I explained to him that is the wrong way to do it, because if you do it that way, you put yourself under far too much pressure and the overheads are just simply too much. We've got to build the foundations first, start small, keep your overheads down, get some solid foundations, and then once we've got some solid foundations, we'll then build up from there, and he was completely on board with it. Now, he was really honest with me from the start. He explained that he's going to be working at the football club till the end of the season. So we was at the end of October, season finishes first week of May. So he said, look, realistically, I can only commit to maybe 2 evenings a week whilst the season's on. And then at the end of the season, I'm looking to leave the club. I can be in there full time. I explained to him that, right, we'll get your diary full for the first 2 evenings that you can commit, or the 2 evenings a week that you can commit. Alongside that, what we're going to do is we're going to build all the assets out that you need for your business. I explained to him that the way to go to start with is just a room rental. Don't go and take a building on. Don't go and take on large rents and business rates and overheads. Just simply rent a room, keep your overheads minimal and keep your cash flow high. And then what that will enable us to do is it'll enable us to reinvest once we've maxed out the one single room that you're renting. And he was on board with that. He said that he had a good contact at the local private hospital. He got in touch with them. They had a room available for him. He was in there within 2 or 3 weeks. Now, in terms of assets, there's many, many assets that you can build out for a physio clinic. And I explained to him that at this current moment in time, we only need 3. Now, the first one that we needed to build was a website. The thing with websites is everyone builds a website, but the websites that they build, they're not actually doing their job. So I explained that the importance of building a proper website, one that converts traffic into leads, into bookings, not one that simply has, a video or a bio description of how good you are as a clinician. What we were looking to build is one that generates traffic and captures that traffic, turns it into leads, turns them into bookings, a high performing website. So I explained to him that there's 3 types of people that are going to fall on a website. You're going to get people that are already sold and they're just ready to book in. We need an outcome for those, which might be a book now button, which takes you to the online booking, or it might be just a call now. I also explained to him that you're going to get people that are just not quite sure. You're going to get people that have maybe had physio before, it didn't work, so they're a little bit skeptical. They might have already invested loads and loads of money in treatments that just didn't work. And these people, they need to talk first. So I explained to him that we're going to have to build almost like a discovery call form or a request a callback form for those type of people. And then the third type of person, which nearly all clinics that I look at just don't cater for, are those that know they've got a problem, but they just need some information. And for those people, we need what's called a lead magnet. It's something that they can download or take away, which gives them some value regarding the issue that they've got in exchange for their contact details. And then we can start to retarget them with, highly tailored marketing content. And I explained to him that there's a couple of ways we could go with that. A lot of people go with free downloads, free exercise videos. I've always found that quizzes are the best way to cater for these people. So we built all of his quizzes. Within 3 weeks, we had his website up and running, and it was set up from day one to convert traffic into bookings and into leads. So that was the first thing that we did. Now, the second thing we did was we sorted his social channels out. I explained to him that he needs to be posted on every single channel. I think up to this point, he'd only ever used Facebook and a little bit of Instagram. I explained to him that we need to be on TikTok, we need to be everywhere. What we're looking to create is omnipresence. So we got him on all these social media channels. And the next thing we looked at was the type of content that he was producing. The mistake that a lot of clinicians, not just physios, sports therapists, osteopaths, is they produce content that's only really of interest to other physios. And I explained to him that we need to be producing content that's of interest to your target audience. So the first thing that we did was we established who his target audience was going to be. Because once we worked out who the target audience is, we can then ask ourselves, right, where does that type of person live? Is it Instagram? Is it TikTok? Is it Facebook? And what sort of problems do they have? Once we worked all that out, we then reverse engineered the type of content that we're going to be producing, answering all the questions that that type of patient would have regarding their pain point. So I've set him a challenge: produce your first 50 videos, which he did within 2 weeks, scheduled all them to go out. The last thing that we did was, once he'd built up a good library of social media content that spoke to his target audience and the website was in place, ready to capture that traffic and convert it into leads and bookings, the next thing we did was we ran some paid ads. We did Google ads and Facebook ads. I gave him some ads that I know work from doing them for years and years and years. And the moment we switched them on, I think initially he was doing just the 2 evenings a week, and that diary just filled organically with no ads quite quickly. So we didn't do any ads until the end of the season. And then the 2 weeks before the end of the season, we turned all of his ads on. And the very first week that he was full time, after the last game of the season, he had 17 new patients booked in and he was 80% full. And within 3 weeks, his diary was fully booked. And at the time of doing this video, he's got a 2-week waiting list and he's generated more inquiries than he knows what to deal with. So where he is now is he's got his single room full to the brim. He's maxed out with a waiting list and he's just agreed to take on a new building, which will be 5 treatment rooms. It will have a reception area. It'll have a rehab gym. He's just in the process of buying a focused Shockwave machine also. He's just in the process of lining up his first hire. And what's great about this is that he's done it the right way. So he's making a very big decision on taking on a big building with overheads and recruiting staff. But the beauty is that the money is in the business. And once the money is in the business and he's got clarity over his numbers, them decisions become much, much easier because the numbers just take the emotion out of it. Now, the other thing that we're looking to do now, because he has got the ambition to fill all 5 of these treatment rooms, and as I said to you before, he wants to recruit staff and he has got a long-term vision of opening multiple sites. The other thing that we've put in as well, or we're just putting in at the moment, is physio leads. So we've put physio leads in. I won't go into physio leads too much in this video. I have done a full hour-long video on physio leads, so you can go and find that on my channel. But we've built physio leads into his business, and what that has given him now is it's given him a foundation to scale, not just quickly but predictably and without the chaos. So a lot of mistakes that people make when they get to the point where they're ready to take on more staff, or maybe non-clinical staff, or bigger buildings or multiple sites, is they haven't built the systems and the processes out for what they've got, and therefore when they scale, everything falls in on itself, and what they actually end up doing is scaling chaos. So the beauty for him now is, because he's built out all the assets for his business, or he's building out the assets for his business, when he comes to recruit, take on bigger buildings, open more sites, the systems and the processes are already there and his business will be able to handle it. There'll be no chaos at all. I've got no doubt that in the next 2 to 3 years, this clinic owner in particular will be the go-to clinic in his area, and I think he'll absolutely dominate physiotherapy in his geographical area. So look, here's what I want you to take from this video. It doesn't matter how long you've been in professional sport. It doesn't matter how good you are as a physio, how many qualifications you've got. It doesn't matter if you've never even run a business before. It doesn't matter if you're starting from scratch with no patients, no reputation outside of the sport or the club that you're working at, and you've got no idea where to begin. What matters is that you do things in the right order. So you get the foundations right before you scale, and you build something that converts before you put your money behind it. And don't let anyone talk you into going bigger than you need to before you're ready. And because I've seen that happen loads of times, and so many physios, they just end up in trouble and they stop enjoying it. This physio in particular, ex-championship and Premier League physio, and he started in one room. He filled out his one room, and now within less than 6 months, he's signing a lease on a 5 treatment room building, and he's got a waiting list, and he's got his first member of staff coming in. And I'd just like to add, this current moment in time, I've got 3 clinics. I'm in 3 different counties. I employ 14 staff. And when I started, I also started in one room, and I was in that room for about 9 months. If you're watching this video and you're ready to make the move and set up your own clinic, or you're already out and you know something isn't quite working, then come and talk to me. There's a link below to our clinic builder inquiry form. The link should be in the comments and in the description, or you can find it on my website. Fill it in, tell me where you are and what you're trying to build, and I'll help you take it from there. There's no pressure at all. It's just a conversation about whether I can simply help you. And as I said before, the link is in the bio, the link is in the comments. And if this video has helped you, please drop me a comment and give it a like, and hopefully I'll be speaking to you soon.